Greetings, everybody. Powerful Nerdcast is back. I'm Corey, and joining me, as always, is my good friend Christian.
Hey, everybody on internet. How's it going?
That's right. We got another show for you guys today, and this is post-Super Bowl 2022, which is awesome. We don't give a shit about the actual game, but we did have a lot of brand new trailers and some cool things to talk about, so that's what we're going to do
And
today.
Corey, I don't know if you caught this, but Snoop Dogg smoked weed at the Super Bowl before he went on. Breaking news, everyone. Snoop Dogg does weeds.
It would have been a lot cooler if he actually smoked on stage.
No, we don't need that. But I think it's hilarious that he, was like sitting there, okay, let's do this. And then like went out.
I was
like, damn.
Half of his body is at least marijuana at this point anyway.
And let's use this to transition into his commercial with Martha Stewart.
I didn't see his commercial with
Oh
Martha
my
Stewart.
God, Corey, it's so good. It's them promoting the long lighters, with the little stem.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey, Martha, hand me that bowl. And then she hands him a big candle bowl. You know what they were implying
When
the whole
hell
time.
did Snoop Dogg and Martha become such a thing?
He told that story on the Joe Rogan podcast, which I don't want to repeat it, but essentially he said he realized, I might be mixing this up because that was a long 3-hour podcast, but essentially he said, I realized that she was a very real person. I enjoyed being with her, and I personally make a point to make sure I'm not the guy people get worried about when I walk in the room. Like it used to be, hey, I'm hardcore gangster on trial for murder, and now I'm the guy making videos and wearing Mandalorian armor and music videos. I'm, having fun with Martha Stewart. I want everyone to get excited when I walk in the room now. Like he had that point about his brand, and he likes Martha Stewart. And I think it's a good brand move, to be completely honest.
It's a really great odd couple kind of move, but it seems to have been working really well for both of them.
Yeah. Hey, Martha, hand me that bowl. And then they light a candle in it.
And that's literally it.
And it's them saying, it's them using different innuendos of, you can use it for hard to reach candles. And
or
then
you can get really
weed.
fucking high.
Yeah, but without them saying it the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
All
a great commercial.
Gotta admit, it's kind of funny. I really didn't pay too much attention to a lot of the commercials this year. They put most of them on YouTube anyway. And I saw the Jim Carrey one that was kind of like a riff on the Cable Guy, and it was okay.
Not a riff.
Just kind of
it was a complete riff off.
Yeah, basically, just sort of reminding us of these classic things, which I love to revitalize. But any other commercials that really jumped out?
I
at
liked the Lay's, Paul Rudd. Did you not see this one?
Man,
either?
I avoided.
You haven't seen any of these commercials? Why are we talking about it?
I went straight to Trailerland and said, fuck the commercials this year.
There was a great Lay's commercial with Paul Rudd and what's his name?
Seth Rogen.
Yeah, and Seth Rogen. And they go through their history together. Yeah. Essentially, it's like them in the 70s, the 80s, and they're always eating Lay's chips.
Okay.
And then there's a twist at the end that they're I'm ruining the joke, but I'll tell you I'll over-explain the commercial. So essentially, then they go to Seth Rogen buys a house, and then they walk in the house, and it's haunted, and it's like ghosts coming at them, and Paul Rudd's like, ah, and he's like, nice to meet you, and then it cuts back to modern times, and they're sitting on the steps of a church because Seth Rogen is getting married, and he's actually marrying the ghost.
That's weird.
And the ghost, it's like one of those ring chicks,
Yeah.
With the long hair, and then he's Jewish, so they're all picking him up on the chair.
Oh, okay.
But she's just floating next to him, if you sort of get it.
It sounds like you're making this shit up, but it's probably totally real.
It's totally real.
Like I said, I kind of avoided that. Lay's is always one of those companies that always tends to do really good commercials during the Super Bowl. Always really big, memorable ones.
Absolutely.
But again, it's those trailers. That's what I think a lot of people come for, aside from the actual football and go Rams, I guess, if that's your thing.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of big trailers this year. Some stuff we already knew about, some stuff we're seeing for the very first time. I think let's go ahead and enter the Marvelverse, as we love to do from time to time. Let's talk about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, we've already seen
dun, 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 dun.
a couple of trailers for this movie. We already saw the one that got sort of spoiled before Spider-Man came out, and we found out that was actually the trailer at the very end of the movie. And they give us our very first good look at the film. Yep. We get to see the return of, Scarlet Witch and a few other classic characters, even some brand new ones. But I think that this was the craziest trailer that we've seen thus far. And it's also really spoilerific. A lot of people have just picked it apart and tried to find
I've watched so many trailer breakdowns. Many. There's so many out there.
And this is a movie that's going to, really shake things up a little bit in terms of how they're utilizing the multiverse and the characters that they are going to introduce. Yep. Overall, what's your first thoughts of this trailer, when compared to what we got from that first look?
Well, I think that this movie, I don't know if you know this movie was supposed to come out before Spider-Man, And then it didn't, because I forgot why. I don't want to actually speak to that. But they had to reshoot this movie, the Doctor Strange movie, to get rid of a few characters that were going to be introduced in Spider-Man that were going to follow Doctor Strange in his adventure. Okay. But they had to go back and erase all of them, and that's why they made Ned the guy that could use magic in their group, because the person that was supposed to come with them that could learn, that knew magic and could make portals, was never introduced. Because
so Ned wasn't originally supposed to do all this stuff?
No, he was not supposed to be the guy that knew magic. Right. That's why everyone's like, is Ned supposed to be, like, what character are they referencing? Because they always plant seeds for the next character. And the truth is, Ned was never supposed to be a magic user. It was supposed to be this chick that could create portals.
I think that's this brand new character who's being introduced in this film, a very new Marvel character that I'm
not brand new in the sense that she isn't in the comics. Yeah. She's just in the modern comics.
Yeah. Her name is America Chavez.
America Chavez. She's very, I didn't want to get too deep into this, but her creator has really sunk the Marvel comics because no one really cares about this woke shit in their comics. And she's literally a brown female written by, if I'm not mistaken, an Indian writer. So it's just
according to this too, she's also Marvel's first Latin American LGBTQ character.
That's a hell of a lower third.
It definitely is.
So I don't want to get too into that side of things, but essentially she's not loved by the comic book characters. But she is going to be introduced in this and is essentially going to be Doctor Strange's sidekick throughout parts of the movie.
What about Wong?
Wong's wrong, man. They ain't using him.
they're going for America Chavez.
They need to get that evil male energy out of there and start getting woman power up in that house.
You know, America Chavez, you know, according to what I've seen,
caramba.
Like you said, her powers, she's a teenager with the ability to travel between dimensions, and that's kind of important considering this is a movie which is all about the multiverse, parallel worlds and everything. So she looks like she's going to be pretty important in terms of her role in the film. And I saw a couple shots of her in the movie, basically just getting into fights. I believe she was actually fighting against, and this is one of the things that people were looking at.
Oh, you want to go right into that stuff? Okay.
Captain Marvel is in this? Or at least a multi-version of her? What is it? What's
that is Iron Man in a powered-up state because he has the Infinity Stones.
Okay. That's
why I was like, are you going into that right away?
Yeah, there's so much weird shit in this trailer.
So it's... they are essentially, at one part in the trailer, Doctor Strange is being brought into a room followed by a bunch of robots, which seem a lot like the Ultron bots. Yeah,
they look a lot like Ultron, like classic Ultron.
And they're going in front of the group of other multiversal, I would say bad guys in their way they're presented in this movie, but they think they're good guys. You got Doctor Strange from a different dimension. You got Iron Man that defeated Thanos.
Who now has a suit powered by the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, and then you have Dr. Xavier.
Professor X.
Yes.
From the X-Men.
And possibly Kang.
And Kang.
Possibly Kang.
The Kings, it's the Kang.
It's the Kang.
All right.
And they're trying Doctor Strange for breaking. It's essentially Council of Ricks.
Dude, you were just reading my mind. It really is the Council of Ricks.
It's a Council of Ricks.
It's also like another version of the TVA.
Yes.
From the Loki show, which is weird. It's like there's these big secret society organizations that are able to exist and coexist with one another. It's very strange.
Multiverse is essentially the ultimate tool to create whatever the fuck you want.
Pretty much, yeah.
But they actually have a name like in the Order or
the
something.
Illuminati.
The Illuminati.
Yeah. Not a creative name, but at least, you know, it explains why they're so secretive.
Zoltan.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. So they're going to be introduced. We obviously know Professor X is going to be there because we heard him.
And I'm assuming that's Patrick Stewart again.
Yeah, they brought him back.
Man, how old is Patrick Stewart at this point?
Not Betty
He's
White
81
old.
years old.
He's got another 10 years of Marvel
81.
movies.
That means when they were making the original X-Men, this dude was in his 60s.
Yeah.
This dude has been playing this role forever. And I'm conflicted on this. You know, I'm really glad that they're bringing in, you know, the X-Men finally. Yeah. I just didn't expect that they were going to use a lot of those legacy cast members to make this happen. I assumed they were going to fully just recast. But then again...
I thought everyone was going to be, you know, Latino lesbian. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to...
Latino lesbian Professor X?
Yeah.
that sounds like some sort of weird fetish you find on the deepest, darkest corners of the internet.
I guarantee that's out there somewhere.
It has to be.
Yeah.
But Now I'm just imagining in my head just like this super sultry lesbian Latino Professor X with like flowing hair.
That's right.
While he's chilling in his chair. But I thought that they were going to, totally just recast things. But again, this is multiverse. There can be many versions of these characters. And this is just another version of Professor X that just so happens to be the one that we remember from the classic X-Men movies.
And of course, you've heard the rumors about the Iron Man they're going to use.
Of course.
Yes.
And let's just go ahead and address it. It's fucking Tom Cruise.
Because he was one of the ones that was also running to be Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr., and he was in like the top 3 choices, and they didn't go with him.
Yeah.
And I think also Hollywood had a stick up its ass saying, oh, we don't want to put our top level dudes in superhero movies, and now they're like, can we get in your movie?
Yeah.
So they invited Tom Cruise
I'd
to
say
most likely be
the Marvel
Iron
films
Man.
have some pretty big people in it at this point.
Well, I think Hollywood needs to shut up and agree that this is at least how they make their money. Maybe they don't like it, but they better shut up and make more movies so they can survive.
But I mean, Tom Cruise's Iron Man, I think that's pretty appropriate. He's definitely, he evokes a little bit of Tony Stark, but a very different type of version.
Well, it's very similar to, I find he's a great action hero. He was great in the Reacher movies. He was great in the Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah, I mean, he's an action star.
But
he also has the ability to, act, which I think is pretty important for a character like him.
Yeah, he can act his ass off.
And I think a lot of people are going to be excited to see a different version of Iron Man. I think they're going to be a little shocked to see that it's not going to be Robert Downs.
And maybe it is, and this is just a rumor.
Yeah, they could be.
They didn't show us anything yet.
This could be crazy. But now that they've...
Also, the Illuminati could literally be a 10-minute thing. He goes through a portal and leaves and never sees them again.
We also forgot another key member. Supposedly, John Krasinski, Jim from The Office, is going to be Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah, I forgot Mr. Fantastic. Kang may not be there. It may be Mr. Fantastic.
But that's another big thing. We're bringing in the Fantastic
I
Four,
wonder if he's going to say something witty and then turn and look at the camera. Like,
yeah. Self-aware.
Yeah,
that would be
I'm
pretty
joking.
Fun.
Don't do that.
That would be dumb, but at the same time,
Don't
kind
do
of
that.
appropriate. But yeah, we got all these big stars. Krasinski's a big guy now. He's writer, actor.
I'm not into it.
You're not really a Krasinski guy?
Nope.
No?
He's always going to be Jim from The Office to me.
Yeah. Is it like distractingly so that he's Jim?
Yeah, when
Even
you
with
tried
the
to put him in
everything?
that Amazon series where he was like a badass CIA guy, I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Not feeling it.
The only movie that I saw him in, I believe,
Quiet
was
Place.
A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Which I thought he was great in, but again, that's one of those movies where there's very little dialogue. But again, I think that was one of the best things about that movie is these people can act without having to really talk much. And believe it or not, I think that's more difficult than you think.
Oh, it's very hard, and also it sort of lets him actually just be an actor and not like as soon as you hear him talk, you think of Jim. But maybe if he doesn't talk, it sort of fights through that a little bit more. You just see, you just see the family and him interacting. I never saw The Quiet Place. I'm sure it's good, and I'm sure
it's great. I recommend it.
Kaczynski's is quite good.
I didn't see the sequel, but I recommend it.
Yeah.
It's not like super. It's a PG-13 horror movie, so it's not like bloody or anything. But I mean, it's very tense.
I know some people that work at the Atlantic Aquarium, and he came through with his wife, and they give them a private tour, and they said they were really nice people. So, and he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
Like nothing about that surprises
he
me.
comes across as a really cool dude, and I can't wait to see what he's going to bring to the table as Mr. Fantastic.
We also have other people in the Multiverse of Madness. We have a supposedly good Doctor Strange that's also part of the Illuminati. We also have the crazy Doctor Strange that will appear in the movie.
So it's not just another... There's like multiple Doctor Stranges in this movie.
Yes.
Okay.
And I essentially think we may be seeing the evil Doctor Strange that we saw in What If.
Okay.
We may be seeing that is that Doctor
Which
Strange.
is strange because now we're incorporating animated characters into the live action, series.
I wonder if we're going to see the Watcher.
The Watcher, the dude with the big head.
The dude with the big head and the cool voice.
A lot of people want to see that now, and this is also giving people more of an excuse to want to watch What If. Again, I kind of dropped off really early into that show. Well,
it pays off if you watch the final episode or two.
This makes me want to watch the rest of that show so I can have a better understanding of these various versions of Doctor Strange.
And I feel like Marvel is going in a way with this that I'm excited that they're taking a chance. They're like, you kind of need to watch the other stuff to get fully into this. Because I'm sure they're going to introduce all these characters without you needing to see everything. But you're going to have an enhanced experience if you watch What If. So that's cool. Yeah. I'm kind of excited about that. Am I going to go see this movie? Yes. Is Doctor Strange actually one of my least favorite Marvel heroes? actually, yes, still.
Okay.
I think he's kind of a glass cannon.
For me, he's kind of changed. Before these movies, to me, Doctor Strange was just one of those like C-list Marvel characters.
Yes.
Cool, but not for me. The movies has sort of like amplified my hype of that character. It's made me care about him a lot more, and I'd go as far as to say Doctor Strange is one of my favorite live-action Marvel characters now. So I'm very excited for this film. I love the visuals of it too. It's no surprise that this is being directed by Sam Raimi. And Sam Raimi's pretty famous for having very distinct style when it comes to his movies. I mean, he did The Evil Dead.
Yep.
He did the original 3 Spider-Man films. We have a fucking horn, which is honking right outside the studio right now.
I don't think anyone can hear it. I got the headphones on.
Ugh, I can hear it. I want to
push
that
through.
To the fucking multiverse.
Push through,
right now.
Corey.
Anywho, I'm going to keep pushing through. But yeah, I love the visual style of this film. This trailer really showed how like crazy things are going to get. And they've already sort of teased that with some of the things that we've seen from Doctor Strange in the previous films. But I just love the overall visual style of this movie and the things that they showed off in this trailer. It was just all over the place in terms of its craziness. Not just introducing all the different characters, but just some of the crazy scenarios that we're going to get. I'm still excited to see one of my favorite esoteric Marvel villains make it into the film, which is confusing because he could be one of 2 characters. He's either known as Gargantos or Shuma Gorath, and he's the big old hentai tentacle monster.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about this character. All I know is that he was one of the most favorite characters in that Marvel vs. Capcom fighting game.
He was. It's like, of all the Marvel characters to include, they choose that guy. Giant hentai monsters aside, I think one of the biggest characters in the movie is still going to be Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, returning for the movie.
That's right.
After the hot off the heels of her brand new show on Disney+. And again, I'm not sure if she's going to be a hero, if she's going to end up being a villain. They sort of play with that sort of thing in this brand new trailer here.
They released another trailer this morning, which definitely makes her seem like the villain.
Okay.
There's also things hinting at it throughout the trailer. And, overall, I don't mind because she's supposed to... The Scarlet Witch does not present as a independent, not sure if I'm bad or good character. It seems like she might really be a bad guy.
Mm-hmm. I do like in the trailer, though...
And now that Vision's dead, she kind of can be.
I mean, there's technically another Vision out there who... Do you think he'll appear in the movie?
I don't know. Even old Vision could because of the multiverse.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of things they could do. And, I mean, I think there's a 90% chance Vision is going to have some sort of presence in this film somehow. Yeah. Even if it's just minor. Only because it is involving her.
Absolutely.
But I do love the one line she has in the film. She's like, you mess with the multiverses, you all this stuff. Nothing happens. I do. I'm the bad guy. Well, I don't think that's very fair.
Doctor Strange didn't imprison a whole town.
That's true. He didn't.
He didn't do it all. Doctor Strange did it for Peter as a favor. She did it as a way to make her life better.
That's true.
It's a little different.
Yeah, they are different. There are degrees behind all of that stuff. But again,
I agree, though. It's a good point.
It is painting her as a more complex and interesting character than she ever was when they first introduced her into the MCU in the first place. But I want to talk a little bit more about some of these wackier potential things that could be happening in this movie, because a lot of people have been analyzing and maybe even over-analyzing some of the aspects of this trailer, these spots, these posters that have been coming out. One poster in particular, which is really cool looking, is basically Doctor Strange, and there's all of this shattered glass around him, and you can see the reflections of a lot of the characters that are going to be appearing in it. And a lot of people have been taking note of some pretty big things, such as the fact that the overall glass itself seems to be in the shape of a shield. There's also the potential of there being other shields in here, and a lot of people are pointing to the fact that this is not the Captain America shield, but this is the Peggy Carter shield that was seen in What If as well.
Oh, so here's the thing. If they use the evil Doctor Strange, or... He's not evil. He's chaos, Doctor Strange. Okay, so essentially he's like a guy doing anything, but he's not evil necessarily. He's just cool with chaos. While the Doctor Strange we have is the one that wants kind of everything, the order Doctor Strange, if you will. And he's the one we're following, and he's the one we know. So I find it interesting that all the other What If characters could essentially make an appearance.
Yeah.
Because if Peggy Carter shows up buff, then essentially anyone could show up too.
Yeah, that buff Peg, she's going to show up and kick some ass. One of the wildest theories.
She'll peg you.
Something like that. You can take that as you will.
Yeah.
cut that soundbite and reuse it whenever you want.
Yeah.
So one of the wildest theories that I've been seeing, and this could be an instance of people maybe going a little too crazy in terms of their overanalyzing things, is the fact that they see Deadpool in the poster.
Where?
Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually show you this right here, but actually, like, in the glass at, like, the top corner in a very small portion, people zoomed in, enhance, and supposedly they see Deadpool's face.
Just print the damn thing.
Enhance. Exactly. I think we're trying to shove too much into this movie if they try to do Deadpool. If they do use Deadpool, it makes sense because, of course, this entire movie is about the multiverse. Clearly,
Also,
Deadpool is from another universe.
Deadpool can go in and out real quick, be funny,
Mm-hmm.
and get out of the movie, and no one would care.
It could be the post-credit scene. This could be the way to bring him in.
Yeah.
I mean, they've already made it clear that Deadpool's coming to the MCU.
Yes.
They're going to make it happen. We just don't know how that's going to happen. But if it happens in this movie, it makes perfect sense why, considering what they're dealing with and everything. I just don't think including Deadpool into all of this is a good idea because there's just so much shit going on. I mean, this Doctor Strange movie is entirely more complex than the first one.
I was amazed how confused I was after I watched the trailer.
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening throughout this movie?
Yeah,
and
but
I was like,
that.
oh, they're really layering it in. This movie also has a potential to be boring to people that don't know everything, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing. They're taking a chance, assuming you know some stuff going into this movie.
I'd say at this point,
But if we took, like-
I think at this point they've earned that luxury to be
Yes.
esoteric and weird.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they've been doing these Marvel movies for so long. We're so deep into them now. I mean, yeah, they can do this if they want to.
Absolutely.
I mean, they've proved that with the movies and all the shows that are coming out. I mean, do you even think there's the potential for Loki to tie into any of this? I don't think
Loki
that's
might be
going to
on the
happen.
Illuminati.
You
He
think
might be
so?
on that board of mysterious dudes.
It is quite possible.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen with that, especially because there is going to be another season of Loki, and that's also tied to all this multiverse crap. That the multiverse thing is really what the next half of the MCU is going to be all about. I mean, every movie is going to be involved with it in some form or fashion.
Or anything they want to have happen can now happen.
Pretty much.
Without 2 or 3 movies to lead up to it.
Yeah.
And I like that. Because
But-
that's why our shows we liked growing up were like Adventure of the Week. And that kind of makes it more interesting. What do you got? You pulling something up? You want me to
No,
go
not
to
really.
Okay.
But I do want to go ahead and wrap up this whole Doctor Strange thing because there is a lot of crazy. Also, I'm looking at the cast right now. Bruce Campbell's in this.
Maybe he's a doorman like in Spider-Man.
I mean, it makes sense why Bruce Campbell is in this. Sam Raimi's directing.
Sam
it.
Raimi's directing. He
But
puts him in
like,
everything.
what is he gonna do? Like, I'm more excited just to see what Bruce is gonna do, even if it's something small.
I feel like this is going to be
I
like...
want Bruce to be a multiverse version of Deadpool who's older.
There we go.
I know that sounds stupid, but that would be pretty fun.
I just think overall that they're going to use this movie as the ultimate cameo machine.
Oh yeah.
That's essentially like every time Stan Lee was in a movie, how he'd cameo. That's what they're going to do with Deadpool, with all these other heroes, the Peggies, everyone.
Anyone. Well, anywho, that's Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about that before it comes out, which is going to be on May 6th this summer. Make sure to check it out. Marvel, there's your free advertisement for the film.
But we're not playing the trailer, so you can't copyright us on this
That's
one.
right. We're going to save our revenue this week, damn it.
Yeah.
After Jurassic World and
Stole
Universal
it.
tried to take it from us last week.
All 200 views.
That being said, any other trailers, like major ones? I mean, a lot of them are things that we already saw before. I know you're not giving a shit too much about it, but I mean, there's the new Sonic movie that's coming out with Idris Elba's Knuckles. You got Jim Carrey piloting the giant Death Egg robot from Sonic. That's cool.
Nah.
Cricket noise.
Cricket noise.
All right, that's fine. I know one
It's a
thing.
movie for kids, Corey, and
All
I'm not a Sonic fan.
Okay, I'll give you that. It is definitely a movie for kids.
Yeah.
And I'll be totally excited to go see that with my niece, who is obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog. It gets me an excuse to go see it and enjoy it for what it is.
As a 35-year-old dude who never got into Sonic, I'm not going to pretend I'm into it now.
There you go. There's no breaking into it at this point. But
No.
there was one other trailer that was hotly anticipated.
I do love chili
because
dogs,
it
though.
is one of the most expensive things that's ever been produced. And it's this brand new Lord of the Rings
Lord of the
television
Rings.
series.
Let's see here. Let
The
me pull that up.
Rings of Power.
Boom. Oh,
So
did that wrong.
it's okay, man.
There it is.
So
what do you got on the screen? Because I'm on the screen.
we're about to take a look.
Oh, do you accept the cookies?
I have to accept the cookies.
Oh, the new characters.
So
okay.
we have
So I'm not going to jump in on this until you're done talking.
Okay, so first and foremost, Lord of the Rings. What does it mean to you? Are you a Rings fan? I know you've seen the movies. I know we've seen the movies.
I like Lord of the Rings. Never read the books. Never read the Hobbit book. And
that's crazy because I've been to your house and those books are on a shelf.
My wife has read those books.
Yes,
many a times.
My advice: just pick them up, bring one next to your toilet, and get through a chapter a night. That's the best way to do it.
I just know that if you aren't going to do a Lord of the Rings story based around hobbits going on an adventure, I don't know how much I care.
Okay.
That's where I think I'm at with this new series.
Really?
They got to try. Because the elves are monotone and boring-ass characters on their own. Like following around the elves in Lord of the Ring universe. They're going to have to really try to make those people interesting.
They need someone to complement them who has a little more personality.
Like the dwarves and an elf going on an adventure.
It's like Legolas is cool, but without Gimli, he's just not that fun to watch. That's why I didn't like Legolas very much when they decided to shoehorn him into the Hobbit trilogy.
Yeah.
I was like, it's cool that it's Legolas, but he has no one to play off now.
No.
He's just the dude with the arrows, and that's about it.
I hope that this feels like Lord of the Rings.
So, did the trailer for Rings of Power feel like Lord of the Rings?
No.
Okay.
But I don't want to just immediately shit on it. I'd rather you tell me what you thought of it. Because I could just say, it felt generic, it felt boring, it felt like, let's just show these new characters doing an action sequence. But they didn't set up the story much for me.
No amount of story was set up in this trailer.
And
it was like, more of just I
don't know.
The show's coming out. We're spending like $1 billion on it. We hope you check it out.
Amazon's playing for our eyeball time as hard as they can because they have stiff competition with Apple Plus, Disney Plus, Netflix, and Amazon has some great shows. I love The Marvelous Miss Maisel.
You will
one of my favorite shows.
Death.
I will never shut up about that show. It's fucking hilarious. But this, I don't know if I care about this yet.
I'll say this. I don't care yet. The first trailer didn't do much for me because we are just swimming in a sea of fantasy content. For the last couple of years, we've had so many shows which has sort of picked up the mantle from where Lord of the Rings left off. I mean, Game of Thrones, The Wheel of Time, all these other big fantasy shows which have come out in movies, they've sort of redefined it a little bit. And Lord of the Rings, the original trilogy, for me, is so classic. I've read the books. I read them when I was younger, and I enjoyed them. Yes. And I absolutely love the movies, despite the fact that they're not 100% accurate. They're still a great representation of those books, and they're just an achievement in terms of filmmaking. There was an experience that we were lucky enough to have to grow up and see those movies in theaters as they happened. Then they did the Hobbit trilogy. It was okay.
I didn't feel The Hobbit very much. I loved the songs in The Hobbit.
Of course.
And I didn't realize how much the songs and the music was part of those books.
Yeah.
Like I've heard people say if you're not okay with reading about songs and poems and stuff, you may actually get bogged down in the Lord of the Rings books because there's like little things always kind of like sprinkled throughout.
And I will say I love that they incorporated some of that into The Hobbit.
Yeah. Misty Mountain is one of my favorite
Misty Mountain scene.
Yeah, it's great.
Is atmospheric and chills you to the bone.
Yeah.
It's great.
And who doesn't want to hang out in the Shire more?
Exactly.
Like I like the Shire stuff.
It's a fantastic setting. It's really great. And even though I didn't like the Hobbit trilogy as much, they still managed to capture a little bit of what I loved about that trilogy. And I don't hate the Hobbit trilogy. It's just it didn't do it for me as much as it did the original. It's just
without the wizard in it, without hobbits in it, I don't know how you make it feel like Lord of the Rings. You're like, these are the same race. Or there's also, so the woke thing again. Do we get into that?
Yes, we're totally going to get into that. So here's the thing.
Us, two white males, our opinion.
This is going to shock people.
Whoa!
So again, the trailer didn't exactly blow me away, but that's because I don't really know what's happening.
Yeah,
it's just a bunch of random scenes that are cobbled together with some random sound bites. All I know about the current story is that, of course, it takes place well before the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, well before The Hobbit. This is supposedly all about the creation of the actual rings by Sauron and all that other stuff, but they're also going to bring in some...
Don't we already know about that because we played that video game?
I know that you played it, right?
A lot.
Yeah. I don't even know if that's considered canon anymore.
That video game didn't happen when the rings were created. That video game happened after they were created,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like there are reverberations leading up to The Hobbit.
Okay, so it's hard to say because Tolkien, has been dead for years. He had nothing to do with those movies or those games. That's kind of the in between, I guess. This is even well before that.
Yeah, this is the actual creation of the Rings of Power.
Now, that being said, it does involve legacy characters. Like, if you look at this image that I'm currently looking at right now.
I'll cut to that.
Yeah, let's go ahead and look at. These are basically three of the big characters who are going to be in the show. On the right, I believe, is Elrond, who is, of course, played by Hugo Weaving in the movies, and he's like the ultimate badass elf warrior who's like, I don't know if I want Aragorn banging my daughter. That's a little weird.
Yeah.
But that's going to be his character. And then on the left, in the comments, I'm sure I'll be corrected, but I do believe that this is actually Galadriel, who is the super wise female elf from the films. And I do think it's a little weird that these two characters have effectively swapped roles. Elrond has always been wise, but he's also been kind of a warrior. And Galadriel has never really been a warrior, and she's always been kind of wise. And
she's the one that can glow and stuff.
Yes,
she's the glowy lady.
She's the one who has that crazy speech where she transforms.
Yeah,
and I will become a dark queen
if you gave me the ring.
Yeah, exactly that shit. The one who made us piss our pants. And the roles have kind of been swapped here. Whereas now she's a warrior. Now Elrond's kind of just like a philosopher type of character.
See, I didn't know these were the young versions of the characters we know in The Lord of the Rings. I thought this is just, hey, we're going back to when the ring was created, and here are some characters from the same species that that eventually will bring out.
There are a ton of new characters,
of course,
such as the one in the middle.
The first dwarf female we've ever seen.
Yes. Black dwarf, female,
yeah,
no beard. And boy, are the Rings fans pissed about that.
Were female dwarves supposed to have beards too?
They have beards.
It's
been established in the books. There's a whole scene in the Two Towers where Gimli is talking to what's-her-name who kills the Witch King, and he's talking about, you can't really tell the difference between female and male dwarves. Some people just always assume that there's only males and that we just sprout out of the ground when we're born.
Yeah.
And they even, I think in The Hobbit, there was one scene where there is a female dwarf and she is totally bearded up. She is the bearded lady from the carnival. And
they won't do that to a woke like now they have an African American actress. They don't want to I don't know. I feel like it would be almost insulting to do that to this new character. Maybe she shaves. Maybe there's a scene, where she
don't try to save the scene.
I'm trying to be.
All I know is we have a dwarf princess who doesn't have a beard. And look, I'm not losing sleep over it, but certain Rings fans are just losing their shit.
Yeah, as someone that's never read the books,
when this trailer came out, I'm telling you, man, when you went to the YouTube comment section, it was an absolute shitstorm. I know it's hard to believe.
Oh wow!
But
who would think? I thought YouTube comments are like where general polite conversation takes place.
Yeah. Now here's another picture again of that same character, but we also have a typical dwarf character.
That's the guy from The Hobbit.
He looks like the guy from The Hobbit. They all kind of look like the guys from The Hobbit, but
it's not.
It's not the guy from The Hobbit.
Oh, damn it!
But then we have another new character on our right, another super contentious character because we now have our very first black elf.
Yeah.
And he's not just a black elf; he has short hair.
Yeah.
Which is, he doesn't look like the traditional elf that we usually see.
No.
Now, this has created a huge discussion online, and I don't care what side you're on. Let's at least have a discussion about it. What does it matter if we have a fantasy series with talking dragons and weird shit? Can we not have people from other races?
I think you go two ways with this, and it's not this simple, but I'm going to boil it down. One, the people that are upset are like, things are established. That melatonin was not in the elven race in any example we've seen.
Yeah.
So this feels like woke identity politics to shove one in now. And then the other side is what you just said. Hey, it's a fucking fantasy series and dragons talk, so who cares?
Exactly.
But if you're a hardliner for the series, this doesn't necessarily fit.
No.
Unless he's a half-breed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's some sort of weird
it was firmly established in the books and even in the movies that there are other places in the world of Lord of the Rings where there are various different types of groups and races and people. Now, of course, a dwarf princess. You have to imagine dwarves, people who live underground, who almost never see the sun. They'd probably be pale.
Yes.
That's probably the way it is going to be. As for the elf, I can't say. There could very well be other different types of elves, but we have to understand that there are certain things in this universe that simply are established, and I think it's a missed opportunity to try and bring in those characters from other countries that could be other races of people and develop on them, as opposed to taking already pre-established ones and just doing it for the sake of that diversity checkbox.
Well,
because I want to stress, I think in the industry, there needs to be more diversity, but only where it fits. You just can't shoehorn it in where you want. I mean, you can, but I think you shouldn't. I think you should at least honor the lore of a franchise, especially a legacy one like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I don't want diverse people in my movies or even in Lord of the Rings, but I just think they went about it in a way that they're like, you know what, let's not try to think about it too hard. Let's just change these people up, and that's just the way it's going to be. As opposed to doing the research and saying, there are people in this country over there that are diverse, why don't we develop them?
Like when you see in Game of Thrones, there where the character, the guy that's playing Mandalore now, what's his name?
Pedro Pascal.
He came in, all white people before that,
Yeah.
and he's like, I'm from Dorne.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different place.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Spain.
Mm-hmm. And they played that up with his character.
Yeah.
Just his accent alone.
Yeah, heavily
and that's why they got Pedro Pascal to do that.
Yeah. And so, and then there
He
were
got
also,
his fucking head crushed.
well, we don't, sorry, spoilers.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then there were also African-American people in Game of Thrones. They never really established where they were from.
Mm-hmm.
There were just, I think there was a pirate guy that was shown a few times.
Yeah.
But that's, and again, you could easily do that in Lord of the Rings. Hell, the hobbits go to some weird-ass land to go die, and you never ever even see the place.
Mm-mm.
I assume there's other people there.
It's basically Elf Valhalla.
Elf Valhalla?
Yeah.
But it's still technically on the planet.
Yeah, it's weird.
See-
it could basically be another realm.
Does realm mean on the same planet, or does it mean like multiverse
It can
of
mean the
madness?
same planet.
Like we don't know, and maybe that's part of the beauty of what the writer did.
Mm-hmm.
Don't over-explain it. Just sort of hint at it and
Mhm.
let everyone else sort of talk about it and figure it out on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Even in his books that he put out that explain the world, they don't explain everything.
Exactly.
So you could play that up, but I think it's a little dumb for them to just shove in a different person of a different race and say, well, we're in the same place we were before,
Mm-hmm.
but now there are people with this melatonin.
Pretty much.
And it's kind of weird. But also, I don't care about the show, so I don't really need to die on this hill.
No,
Don't come
exactly.
after me,
It's
Internet.
not worth dying on this hill or even under this fucking Hobbit hill. It's
Nope.
not worth doing. I want to see the show first before I make my final judgment. I'm just saying that the first trailer really didn't do much for me. And I don't think they're ever going to be able to capture that magic of reading those books for the first time or watching that original trilogy for the first time.
Well, when they push in on the fucking hole in the ground where a hobbit lives, you are quoting the book.
Yeah.
You're getting excited because the book is transforming from one medium to another.
Mhm.
Here, I don't know how to get excited about this.
Mhm.
You know, it doesn't do anything. Is Peter Jackson involved in this?
As far as I know, he's not.
Well, let's see if he was the magic
I
ingredient.
could be wrong on that. And I'm
Maybe
not
he's a
even-
producer or
and to
something.
be honest, I'm not even sure if this is connected to the films. This could be its own thing that's just supposed to be like connected to the books, And again, that could give it its get out of jail free card for all the controversy that is created. Which, like I said, you should have seen that YouTube comment section the minute this trailer went up. It was just a shit storm. Like, of just people just constantly bitching at one another.
Well, you're not going to make everyone happy,
You're definitely not going to make everyone happy.
And if it's not, Lord of the Rings is something people die on the hill for.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Used to be like Game of Thrones, so they fucked up the last season.
Yeah.
You know, they're just things people really like.
Mhm.
And I get why everyone's mad about it. And I think that woke identity politics is dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I think it destroys good series.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope to God that that is not the reason this is not good.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's just not good because it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we'll see.
We'll
I
have
hope
to-
it is good, though.
I hope it is good too, especially because, man, they are pumping some money into this show, man.
I think they said 100 million.
That is insane.
Is that a lot? No, but they make movies that cost that much.
They do, but this is a TV show with I think that's like per episode, though.
Whoa, 100 million per $1 billion
And they want to
show.
do multiple seasons of this thing.
Jeff Bezos just sold one of his houses.
I mean, I
paid for
understand
this.
that this is like,
Nothing for Bezos.
a teardrop from Bezos
Yeah.
in terms of the money that he actually has, but still. But this, along with Doctor Strange, was definitely the biggest trailers that they showed at the Super Bowl. And again, there's nothing really here to chew on quite yet. It's just our first look at the Rings of Power, and I'm just gonna, wait until it comes out to make my final judgment. For now, I'm just not all that excited for it, but I definitely wanted to talk about it because I'm a huge fan of Lord of the Rings. I love the original trilogy to death, and like I said, we had that unique experience of being able to see all those movies in theaters. You almost died at the end of the third one.
Yeah, because I was super sick and you made me go anyway.
Yep. I didn't make you do shit. Although you did have the car.
Yeah, I did. I had to go because we bought tickets, and if I didn't go, you couldn't go, and that was not going to work.
I mean, we could have got a refund.
I still had to go to the theater to get the refund.
That's true.
So it wasn't.
That might be one of the most sickest I've ever seen you be.
Well, I could have died
because it was the last movie. The
Didn't
ending
give a shit.
goes on forever.
Yeah.
Every single time you thought it was going to end, you're like, oh my! I could see you.
Like, please be over.
Like,
please be over.
The struggle is fucking real.
Anyway, so it made me not like Lord of the Rings from that moment on, to be completely honest.
You don't like Lord of the Rings?
No, it's your fault, Corey.
That's bullshit. I know you like Lord of the Rings because you played the games. You fucking done all that shit, man.
Lord of the Rings sucks.
The Rings. You even had that, I don't know if you remember, it was back in the day. It was like 2005, 2006. You had like a real-time strategy game.
Yeah, they had that real-time strategy game. I was really into StarCraft and Age of Empires, so I was like, cool, build my army of orcs.
Yeah, it seems like it's perfectly tailor-made for all that shit.
It wasn't a great one, though. Right. It was okay. Real-time strategy games are hard to get right. They're like fighting games. They have to be balanced.
Yeah.
They have to be, and then the progression of a real-time strategy game needs to be done well, because you can't just have the ability to get to the higher units has to be earned. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to build your research the upgrades, got to get to armor level 3 before you can build the battle tank and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So, like, what I'm saying is it was a very baseline real-time strategy game, and it was not very balanced, and it wasn't super fun, and overall just wasn't feeling it. Mm-hmm. But it was fun. It was fun to send a bunch of orcs to kill things and have the cave trolls come out and, like, break buildings.
Do you know about the new Gollum game that they're making?
I don't know if I give a fuck about that either, dude. Why are you trying to make me care about Lord of the Rings?
Because I like the rings, man. I'm all about the rings.
Okay.
I'm a rare case. I'm a fucking unicorn. I like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings.
That's
even
cool.
when they both suck.
Yes.
I won't give up on them.
No.
That's just the way it's going to be. What does not suck right now, and it's something I want to talk about because we haven't talked about it in a while, is fucking One Piece.
One Piece.
So, again, this is going to be probably a pretty esoteric topic for people who don't fucking read One Piece or watch it or everything. But I want to at least talk about it a little bit more because it looks like Wano is getting ready to get, to its conclusion at least.
Wrapped up, yeah.
Because the latest chapter of the series, we got to see what might be one of the biggest defeats of the entire series, which is Big Mama.
Big Mama got defeated.
What do you think about that latest chapter? It was Trafalgar Law and Eustace Kid.
Yes.
Who were taking down Big Mom.
I think those two characters defeating Big Mom was actually a huge paradigm shift of the show. Why? Because Luffy always takes down the big bads. But there were too many big bads to, like, Luffy also can't defeat Kaido and then go, let me now go defeat Big Mom all within the span of like 10 chapters. Mm-hmm. It's just too much. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. And also, Trafalgar Law.
Trafalgar Rock?
Trafalgar Rock? How do you say his name?
Law?
Trafalgar Law. Law and Kid are interesting characters who are supposed to be Luffy's equal. Mm-hmm. They also are ahead of Luffy because they have unlocked their Devil Fruit's secret potential.
Yeah, the awakened Devil
They've
Fruit.
awakened their Devil Fruits.
They Bankai'd that bitch up.
Yeah, and so they essentially use their new powers to defeat Big Mom, beaten Mom, whatever you want to call her now. And it was cool. It was a really cool chapter. Yeah. It doesn't feel the same when it's not Luffy doing it.
I will admit that.
Woo!
It was really cool seeing Big Mom defeat him. I'm like, but there's just something. There's a little extra something missing from it. That being said, the way that they defeated her, I thought was all sorts of badass.
I have to say, though, now that the defeats are starting to happen, I've been literally hate them or love them. Mm-hmm. Like, who's the scientist guy Sanji defeated? Queen.
Oh, Queen.
Didn't care about that defeat.
Yeah.
Thought it was boring.
Both Zoro and Sanji's battles.
Maybe I should say King and Queen's defeats were pretty fucking boring.
Underwhelming.
And now Big Mom got defeated, and I didn't care as much as I thought. Mm-hmm. Also, I don't think she's defeated, but she got knocked off the island.
I thought her defeat was way more visually interesting.
It had to be.
Than King and Queen.
And it probably will be in the anime.
Yeah. I mean, Law and Kid, like, outshined Zoro and Sanji.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yes.
And you know, I mean, going up against... And Big Mom was not an easy opponent. I mean, she took all sorts of damage, but the way that she was defeated was so much more flashy than King and Queen in every single way. And
Absolutely.
I also felt that their fight just kind of... They ended way too quick. And it's so formulaic. It's like every arc of One Piece, like there's that final fight of, like, the arc where they go from character to character. And it's just so weird how it's always like this person gets defeated, then they immediately go to this person, and then they get defeated.
Well, it's kind of falling into the Dragon Ball Z style. You get a new power-up, and you shoot a bigger beam.
Pretty much.
And I'm like, that's kind of what that felt like.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I shouldn't say that because the Devil Fruits are all very unique, you know. But it was like, okay, do my, like, Law's like, shock them with my medical powers. And then Kid's like, slam metal stuff into her. Okay, it's not working. We'll stab her harder and throw more at her, and it works.
Yeah.
And now it has an energy beam around it when it happens. And
Yeah,
I'm like, you know. But I like this arc. Wano is great, but I feel like the buildup was so big that they cannot deliver on what they need to make it feel like.
Well, I remember the author saying that, like, this whole Wano thing was going to be bigger than the Whitebeard War.
Feels like
And I'm not feeling that.
Well,
I felt like that was way more intense and crazy than anything that's happened here, but that's mostly because of just the volume of that battle. There were so many different groups.
Now they're all splattered all over his hideout.
Yeah.
They're not in one place.
It feels not as big, and maybe that's just my expectations getting the best of me. But that's kind of the feeling that I got from it.
How do you guys feel about the Wano arc? Is it doing it for you, or is it falling short?
Are we ready to just get out of this shit? Right
Well, it's not going to end when Kaido gets defeated, because now you got the elephant there, you got the Marines there, you got CP0 there.
CP0.
There's
going
plans
after
for
Nico
Robin. Yeah, like
what's going? Is Zoro like struggling right now too? Like
he's the mayor of Strugglesville.
Like he's got literal death
hanging out,
coming after him. Like after that huge explosion, like he's falling off.
Yeah.
Like what's happening to him? Has he just been falling for the last couple weeks?
Yeah.
Like what's going on with him, man?
He's face down and bloody.
Yeah.
But they're not killing him, so it doesn't matter.
And as far as Big Mom goes, it looks like at the very end of the chapter, like the way that she was defeated, I thought was thematically pretty cool, because Law was using his room to trap her so that she couldn't call on the power of other souls, but also it was sort of like a nice veil to his connection to Corazon.
Yeah.
Where, like, you know, it was all silent and everything, and then Eustace was hitting him with the big beam, just like firing from his giant arm and everything, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So she basically just silently plows through all of this stuff. Just all this chaos. You can't hear.
Hits the fire monster.
Hits the fire monster. And do they fall into the ocean?
No, they just slam into the ground underneath the floating island.
Okay,
I may be wrong, but that's what I remember.
Yeah, because if she fell in the ocean, she's fucked.
Yeah, but that's
how
not
strong she is. She's a devil fruit user.
Well, she fell in the ocean when they tried to go to Wano. Remember, and she lost her, and she got washed up on the shore.
That's
and lost
true.
Like they won't kill emperors even with devil fruits with water.
Yeah.
No one's getting drowned in One Piece unless you're a nobody.
Well, that's true.
Even Kid was underwater for 30 minutes during the prison fight, and he didn't die.
That's a good point.
They're not killing people in the water.
Right.
That's
So,
such a boring way to die.
We also got to finish up Rizo's fight.
How did that end? I don't remember that.
All it shows is him just like really burnt, and then all he's saying is like, "I need water," like SpongeBob style. Like,
so did he kill the earlobe guy?
I'm assuming that just sort of defeated.
Okay.
They decided not to give that like its variant.
And Kaido's daughter, Odin, Odin side boob. She has
Yamato.
Yeah.
Okay.
She used her ice power to freeze all the ammunition at the bottom. So when the fire beast fell through, it didn't blow everything up. Yeah. Which I didn't know she had ice powers. But she is, I think, a fox that is like ice related. I don't quite understand her devil fruit. It's kind of seems like
she transforms into like a mystical wolf.
Yeah.
Ice wolf kind of thing.
It's an ice wolf.
Yeah.
We didn't know that before. Maybe you did if you knew the fairy tale behind it, but I didn't know that.
So basically we have one major conflict left, which is Luffy and Kaido.
Until
the new
elephant
thing.
And
that's the big stinger of the latest chapter, 1040. Just saying that out loud is crazy. where you have Momonosuke, who is basically saying that the elephant, Zunisha, Zo, was the companion of Joy Boy, who was responsible for committing this amazing crime 800 years ago.
So that's lore. This is, again...
The lore hounds are going to eat this shit up.
We're getting into
Like
the Citadel of Rick, where that runs on lore. We're getting near that.
Exactly.
And I'm cool with that, because One Piece takes a sweet time explaining its lore. Mm-hmm. But, man, it makes for the One Piece theory video world to go crazy every time they just say one sentence.
They just gave all these One Piece theory video people content for another couple months.
Dude, what did Zanisha do, bro?
Yeah, let's talk about it, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows what this giant fucking elephant did? It's ridiculous. But a connection to Joy Boy is always kind of a big thing, especially because Joy Boy's become such an infamous character in One Piece as of late. It's not enough to just have Gold Roger anymore. We have to have all this other shit that's all connected.
I feel like that's what One Piece is really good at, and some shows really struggle at. Mm-hmm. It's like when you hit and Naruto failed at this. It's kind of like once Madara wasn't the big bad guy.
Yeah.
And then they had to bring in the
Kaguya.
Yeah. It didn't work as well. Yeah. It wasn't as mysterious and interesting and badass. Yeah.
They hinted at her for 5 chapters, and then she was like, "Oh, she's here."
Yeah, I was like, Madara been around a long time.
Yeah, like I was expecting Madara to end up being like the final villain and do some really crazy shit, but they're like, here she is.
Yeah, and I was like, not good enough. Mm-hmm. But One Piece, they've made the transition away from Goldie Roger into this Joy Boy and the world government stuff really well. Because
they're all connected, but
the layers are done well.
Yeah.
So I like it. Mm-hmm. What do you got there? You want me to pull that up?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about One Piece so we can go ahead and wrap this show up because we've gone on for a long time. But yeah, I had to talk about One Piece a little bit.
Ooh, other things. Let's talk about this. Do you mind if we end One Piece then? Because I'm going to go in a different direction. I want to watch Peacemaker and talk about that next week. Okay. I think you need to try to watch a little Peacemaker too.
I'll look into it.
I'll force you.
Okay.
I'll staple that show to your eyeballs.
I've had a lot of people talk to me about Peacemaker.
It's supposedly really good. And John Cena has range.
It's a James Gunn directed show, so it's going to be wacky, crazy, super violent.
Yes.
Trauma style, and I'm excited to see what it's all about.
So many interesting characters.
The most I've seen from it is like 2 things. You showed me a clip before we actually did the podcast today of him basically just cursing at the Justice League, which admittedly was funny, if a little off-putting. Uh-huh. And then my girlfriend's brother said, "You got to look at the intro." I'm like, okay.
I have not watched the intro.
And I looked at the intro, and it's basically just John Cena and the main cast dancing.
Yes.
And it's ridiculous, and John Cena has like no expression during the dance. He's just like stoic the whole time, and the ending shot is the dumbest, coolest thing ever of him just like posing, and this eagle like flies right in front of him, and it lands, and it does like this dumb like pose, and it's clearly CG, but it looks like the eagle's like trying to stand up and I'm just like, God, this is so stupid, but at the same time, I'm kind of interested to see what it's all about.
Can you Google what he named his eagle? Because it's like Eagly or like Baldy or something. I forget.
Okay.
You got to figure that out. Anyway, Peacemaker looks fun. Doesn't take itself too serious. Glad about that. Mm-hmm. Also, it's John Cena has no shame.
No.
Whether it's apologizing to China or dancing like an idiot, he will do it. And I like that about him.
Eagly.
Eagly.
That's really his name? God, Eagly the Eagle? He sounds like one of the fucking Critter Christmas things from South Park.
Eagly the Eagle and Birdie the Bird and Barry the Bear.
I mean, even at least Birdman called, his bird Avenger. Like, this is just bad. I don't know.
It's pretty dumb.
So yeah, Eagly the Eagle. He shows up in the intro too. After this, I'm showing you the intro.
Okay, I'll watch it.
It's goddamn ridiculous.
And then the other thing I want to watch, I forgot. Anyway, if I think about it, I'll try to get some more shows ready to discuss.
What you need to watch is South Park. The current season is great.
I know.
The last episode in particular, speaking of Lord of the Rings, that's all I'm going to say. It is
You guys have been so nice to me around the office, not spoiling anything, and I need to sit down and watch it.
It is so good. And like I said, it's sort of a classic return.
I just hate watching shows on my computer. I like watching shows on my TV.
I've been watching every episode on my phone.
I know.
It's South Park.
I do not digest long form content that way. If you want me to watch a 2-minute YouTube video, I'm all about my computer, my laptop, but I hate that smart TVs can't go to southparkstudios.com.
That is it just because like a plug-in thing?
Yeah, because it's like Flash or I don't know. I'm not a tech guy in that sense, but I'm telling you, I don't want to download a torrent, take a USB stick, plug it in my computer for a 30-minute show, but for some reason 30
watch
minutes.
it on your computer. You got a big fucking monitor. What's the deal?
Oh, I got a VR headset. Let me tell you, that shit is cool. I got one of the Quest 2.
Headset. I've tried it.
Yeah, you have. And I'll tell you, I got I think it's Google this. I think it's Sword and Sorcery is the name of the game. It's like
Sword and Sorcery
VR, and it is one of the most intense games I have played in VR. And I think it's Sword and Sorcery. I can't see what you're pulling up yet, but
I'm looking it up.
Anyway,
VR.
It's like a fighting game where you can go and like battle.
Blade and Sorcery?
Blade and Sorcery, that's
Blade
it.
and Sorcery.
And I played the game for like 30 minutes the other night. You can look up gameplay of Sword and Sorcery. It's like brutal. It's not cartoony. It's a little too real. So it's like where
You're telling me about that. Like it's too much of a simulator.
it's too close. Like when you grab someone's face and then stick a blade through them, it doesn't feel like funny, haha, 10 points. It feels like, oh my God, I'm murdering someone.
Yeah, I'm looking at the graphics of it. It does look like really serious and like realistic.
And it's also terrifying when 3 dudes are coming at you with swords and all you have is like a tiny sword.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no, no, no. Like, how do I kill them all?
Yeah.
And it's just it shows you how good VR is.
Yeah.
Like VR is fun. Also has magic. Like you're looking at a thumbnail right now. I'm going to cut to your screen. You can imbue your sword with fire magic, so it like does more damage.
You can stab someone and immolate them at the same time.
You can.
Someone did a lightsaber mod.
Yes, I have not downloaded any of the mods, but I've heard they're great. There's even a gun mod, so you can download a gun into the game.
Okay.
And look at that.
This dude's fucking holding Mjolnir, the Halo sword, and is that the
fight.
Minecraft sword?
Yeah,
that Vader's using?
while fighting Darth Vader.
Okay.
But let me tell you, it's just I was like, hey, Dana, that's my wife. I was like, come over here and watch me play this. And she's like, what the hell is that game? Because
like this dude just got decapitated.
oh yeah, you can chop people's arms and stuff off.
Chop people's heads off. And
I
shit.
grab a dead body and hold it up to fight back people, just because they're hitting the dead body when they're attacking me, and then I like pull it away and stab someone in the throat, and they die quick, but you die quick too. So it's like you can't like run through a group and just get slashed at.
That's
like you
delightful.
It is terrifying.
Yeah.
I played it for 30 minutes. I also got kind of dizzy on my headset.
Yeah.
I think VR headset endurance is something you have to build. Like,
yeah.
You cannot hand that headset to someone that's never done it, and they're going to puke immediately if they're not ready for it. Like I like to say, put them in a nice, easy game where they're sitting and they're looking around so their body isn't also moving.
For me, it's always like the movement of the character. That just feels weird.
That's the other thing. Games where you don't move, you just sit still and the world happens around you are way less intense.
You gotta like move or like
when
walk
you're
around.
touching the joysticks and moving.
And you start moving like real fast, it feels like it pulls you.
It's
so
very
strange.
intense. And that's the other thing that's really hard about that Sword and Sorcery game is that you have to move around with the little joysticks on your controllers, and it feels very disorienting. But let me tell you what. If you ever thought about getting into VR, the Quest 2, I think it's like $400. It's awesome. I enjoyed the shit out of it. I've been playing it for a while now. I'm going to get some accessories like a better head strap. I'm going to get a charging dock for it. Also, I've been exclusively buying all my games through my computer and then doing AirLink, so your computer does the lifting of playing the game. Because I downloaded Sword and Sorcery and into the headset and played it. The headset is essentially a high-end cell phone with a big screen attached to it. And it did not run the game well. It just struggles. It struggles. The load times were like 10 minutes. Like, it was really bad. I did not like, maybe I'm exaggerating, but they were like, the load screen was chugging. So as you're looking around, it's like, it was just crap. Yeah. And then it took too long, and the playback was shitty.
Put the headset down, go make a sandwich, and
come back. But the problem is the headset turns off if you take it off your head.
Shit.
And it gets mad if you walk out of your safety zone. So it's like, I have to sit here and stare at the loading screen. But when I got a refund for that game, because I only put like 5 minutes into it, I immediately emailed Quest and said, hey, refund this game. It's not playing well. They said, cool, 24 hours, they refund my money. Then I went to Steam and bought it, and then did AirLink and played it through my computer, and load times were instant, and it was great. So, but I think VR is awesome. I've been enjoying a flight sim game called VTOL VR. And then Sword and Sorcery was really good, and I'm going to get some more. And then we played that one gun simulator, which was fucking epic.
It was like a shooting gallery?
Yeah, that shooting gallery.
That was really cool.
That was cool. And
that was one where the movement kind of like, ugh.
Well, that's one of those games where it's like that movement shit is like where you got to get your endurance down because you can't just.
Because these people, like when you're moving, it doesn't feel like they're walking. It feels like they're fucking like gliding on ice.
Yeah.
When you like get up.
And also when you turn, you don't turn. It's like chunks.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can only pick the area.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it.
Mm-hmm. It like only goes in like certain directions.
Yeah, and then it's up to you to turn and figure out the rest of the movement.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like if you were looking at a clock.
Octagonal direction. Like
an octagonal clock. Like
yeah.
You can't go from 12 to. You can only go from 12 to 1.
Yeah.
You can't go from 12 to in between 1.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to describe, but it's so much fun. VR is awesome. If you get a chance to try it, or someone has a Quest, pick a game you like, maybe go in with them and buy it so they can play it on their Quest and then go over there and play it. It's so much fun.
That's right.
And I thought $400 was a lot, and I still do think that's a lot of money, but considering it is essentially a console,
yeah,
it's kind of cool.
At the end of the day, yeah,
it's not that much.
Mm-hmm.
All you need now is a $2,000 gaming PC to go with it.
Okay, so nearly $3,000, and you're good to go.
And you can only play for 30 minutes before you get sick.
There you go. It seems like a great investment.
It's not an investment.
Well,
it's an investment in fun.
Well, I look forward to more of the investment in fun. But, guys, we're going to go ahead and put a bow on today's episode. Let's go ahead and appease the YouTube algorithmic gods. If you guys are liking our content, please make sure to give it a like, subscribe.
Smash that like button, bitches.
All the topics we talked about today, if you want to join in on the discussion, make sure to do that in the comment section below. Any topics you guys want us to cover, please sound off there. Christian, got anything else for us?
No, thanks everyone for watching. We appreciate it a ton. And like Corey said, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Leave comments about what you'd like us to talk about. And we will consider it for the next episode.
That's it.
Bye.
Bye.